What's up guys, Techmaster back with another video. So today we're going to be doing a review on the M4 iPad Pro that I've had for 2 weeks now. So first of all, this device is absolutely insane. I love this thing. It is so fast. It has the buttery smooth ProMotion display, 120 hertz refresh rate, super duper nice. We have a beautiful 11-inch OLED display with super bright and vivid colors. Goes up to twice as bright as all the other iPads, basically. So that's super nice. We got Face ID also. That has been a really nice feature too because my phone has Face ID. The only thing that uses Touch ID is my Mac, but I do not really care. Because that's also right. The difference also is the Touch ID fingerprint reader is normally right here, so you have to kind of reach over. But Mac, it's much easier. You just put your finger and unlock. So I don't mind having Touch ID on the Mac because no Mac has Face ID yet. iPads have had Face ID for years. The iPad Pro 2018 was the first one to get Face ID, and yeah, it's a great feature on iPad, particularly since we have the good old landscape 12 megapixel ultra wide camera helping you unlock. And that's a very nice feature. I have not, unless you cover it like this and you're holding it, which I would not recommend doing it like that because you could drop it. If you're holding it normally, you can unlock anytime. And the biometric, system works really well, particularly that you're not covering it like you used to be. I am not using a Magic Keyboard. I'm actually using a different keyboard case. It's Bluetooth, but we have a USB-C port there, and it covers all sides. So this is a really nice keyboard case. It also has a spot for you to fold the Apple Pencil, and then this little thing actually sticks to the back. So if we kind of turn it around, it actually looks pretty decent, to be honest. It's like this. I'm not going to really break it, but yeah, you can kind of see the camera right there, and then it kind of curves along the back. So that's a really nice keyboard case. And this is going to be more protected than the Magic Keyboard because, there's just a little spot for it to stick in there. Now, yeah. And yeah, this thing has just been insanely fast because I had an M1 iPad Air before, as you guys already know. And even though the M4 chip is, it's definitely a 3-generation newer chip, but the biggest difference for me day to day is the 120 hertz and the Face ID. Those are two great things. The M4 chip, it's great. You can't really use all the power. iPadOS is not optimized for that kind of performance, but overall, this thing is going to get endless amount of updates. So this thing could get even longer than most iPads. iPads with an A10 Fusion chip, the iPad 7 is still supported on iPadOS 18. That thing's got an A10 Fusion chip. And based on iPadOS software, it's going to go A10 chip, A12, A13, A14, A15, and then it should go to like M1, M2, and then like M4. So like the point is though, this thing's going to get an endless amount of updates for at least 7-8 years. And so this thing is going to work for years to come. So if you buy this iPad now, it's going to definitely work for many, many years. It will easily last longer than 5 years. The 2018 iPad Pro, which has been kept, people have kept for multiple years, since day one, and it still works. And speaking of that, if you have a 2018 iPad Pro, this is going to be a pretty good year to upgrade. Obviously, if you're not a power user and you don't want to spend endless amounts, you don't have to do it. But with that said, this is a massive upgrade coming from the 2018 iPad Pro. And plus, you can actually get pretty good trade-in deals. If you have the 12.9, so I think you can get like $300 off, which for its age is actually a pretty good trade-in deal for this thing. Because I got $300 off of my M1 iPad Air and all that stuff. So with that being said, this is a massive update with the OLED display, the M4 chip, the better camera design, space black color, thinner design, faster USB-C port, Apple Pencil Pro support. Like everything is going to be better on this compared to the 2018 iPad Pro, including the battery life and all that. But yeah, it just depends on what you're doing with this iPad. But if you want a more powerful device for video editing, and this is going to be a really good device with iPad Final Cut Pro. This thing will fly through Final Cut Pro, and you'll have a really nice display for watching movies and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, as I said, this is a great iPad. I would highly recommend it. And honestly, even though it's way more expensive than the iPad Air, I actually think in some ways it's kind of worth that extra $400 price. You're getting ProMotion display, Face ID, quad speakers, OLED display, faster Thunderbolt USB-C port, thinner design, space block. The list goes on and on. And so you were getting so many benefits with the iPad Pro. And by the time you spec up the storage, there's a $300 price difference. So in a way, I think it's actually worth going with the iPad Pro over the iPad Air, unless you want a cheaper tablet and you're okay with 128 gigabyte model, then it's a little bit of a bigger price difference. But yeah, but if you're getting the same exact storage capacity, this thing is much better in a lot of different ways than the M2 iPad Air, because the M2 iPad Air is still 60 hertz and it's using the same LCD display with 500 nits of brightness. It's not even that good. It's basically the same thing as the previous iPad Air. So, yeah, in my opinion, this is a great iPad, and I would highly recommend it. If you have an M1 iPad Pro or later, I would probably keep that because those things are going to be updated. But with that said, if you have an iPad Pro without an M series chip, even a 2020 model that came out in early 2020, this is not a bad upgrade. Like, you're getting a lot of upgrades with the OLED display, thinner design, better chipset. There's a lot of benefits, and the Apple Pencil Pro has really nice features. I'm actually going to demonstrate them right now. There's a hover feature. You hover over these apps, you'll kind of be able to see it. A squeeze feature, if you can kind of hear this. I guess you won't really be able to hear in the mic, but you can kind of see this is a very nice Apple Pencil, and the hover feature is actually really good. They showed it off in their ads, but normally you could only do the hover feature on the M2 iPad Pro, which had the second gen Apple Pencil, but this has a built-in hover feature, and it's just a nicer Apple Pencil with a lot more features than the previous second gen. So yeah, this is a nice pencil too. I haven't used it a ton, but I plan on using this for school, note-taking, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I think this has been a great iPad so far. As I said, highly recommend this device. Yes, it's very, very expensive, but if you could afford it, definitely go for it. This is a better alternative, in my opinion, to like an M3 MacBook Air. At a similar price MacBook, like the M3 MacBook Air, you're missing out on a lot of features. You don't get an OLED display, you don't get ProMotion, you have a slower chipset. Like, this is a much better computer, in my opinion, than something like an M3 MacBook Air. And to get similar features, I've always talked about this, not on videos, but to get similar features to this device, you have to get the M3 Pro MacBook Pro. It has the same color, ProMotion display, very similar, display type, same brightness, all that. But to get that for, a MacBook Pro, which is what you'll need, you'll have to spend $2,000 versus paying $999 for this thing. So, as I said, this is a better computer, in my opinion, than what Apple offers in their Mac lineup, because and this thing is going to probably be easier to use. And Mac OS, it's had some obsolescence previously. So just in my opinion, this is a great computer for the price, and compared to what you can get for Mac, this thing smokes the M3 MacBook Air in value, in my opinion. Particularly because that device starts at 256 gigs of SSD and 8 gigs of RAM. That's a crappy amount of storage for Mac OS. This is the exact same specs, but because iPad OS is more optimized, it'll be better with this kind of RAM and stuff, and you won't have a bunch of apps closing and crashes and all that stuff. So yeah. Anyway, guys, that pretty much covers it up. This is an incredible device. Definitely would recommend it. Yeah. See you guys in the next one.